Hello there, traveler. Tonight, we begin with a queen whose reign should have ended in the cold embrace of death. They say her coffin was sealed beneath the black chapel, the stones still wet with winter rain. She was buried in silence, lips sewn with silver thread, to keep her soul from speaking. 3 nights later, she was seen at the palace gates, wearing the gown they buried her in. She opened her mouth, and the sound that escaped was not meant for the living. And if you listen closely, you may still hear what she left behind.
Not all graves stay closed.
Welcome to the Tenebris Archive. I am Domina Tenebris, the last keeper of the forgotten. And tonight, I offer you the story they refused to record. A royal death, a vanished corpse, and a melody that returned long after the mouth that sang it was sewn shut. So, will you walk with me, traveler, through halls where her shadow still lingers, and find out that the dead do not always rest? The year was 1479, in the shadowed kingdom of Veldenz, where the forests were thick with wolves and secrets. The castle walls were tall, but the snow was taller. And beneath that endless white, something waited. Queen Isolde was said to be as cold as the winter itself, beloved by the people, feared by her enemies, and utterly unreadable to those who served her. Married at 15, crowned at 16, dead by 23. She ruled in silence, wrote letters no one ever read, and wore silver circlets shaped like a serpent, said to be the last relics of her grandmother, a woman accused of charming wolves and speaking to mirrors. She was beautiful in the way marble statues are beautiful. Still, cold, untouched. On the eve of St. Bridget's feast, the palace bells tolled 3 times, and in the early hours of morning, her chambermaid found her lying in bed, arms crossed, eyes open, lips parted, as if she had been about to speak. The royal physician declared it a collapse of the heart, but others whispered that she had been touched by the night air, an old superstition that said the breath of the dead could still carry. No mourning procession, no public ceremony. Her coffin was lowered beneath the black chapel, sealed in stone, salted at the corners, and guarded for 3 nights. After that, the record ends. But the archive remembers what came next. The guard stationed at the chapel entrance was a veteran of the border wars, hardened, faithful, and yet he never returned for his pay. His logbook was found on the 3rd stair. The only words written were, "She is standing. The stone is still sealed."
She never needed doors.
That same night, a scullery girl went to draw water from the eastern well. She dropped the pail when she saw a woman in a pearl-draped gown, walking along the upper gardens. barefoot, hair loose, and no footprints in the snow behind her. When she spoke of it the next day, her tongue was found, blackened. She lived, but never spoke again. 10 days after the burial, the Queen's music room, long locked and abandoned, was found open at dawn. No sign of forced entry. No melted snow on the floor. Just her harp, freshly tuned, and on the cushion, a single lock of hair bound in black silk. The steward who found it swore he heard someone humming from the far wall, the tune to the hymn sung at her funeral. But there were no windows there, no door, just the mirror. It had not been shattered before. Now it was fractured across the surface from the inside.
She hums still.
He left the palace that same day. They say he never crossed his own reflection again. In the dead of the second month, a merchant traveling through the forest claimed to have seen a procession at midnight. 7 hooded figures, a royal litter, and beneath the veil, a face he recognized. When he described it at the city gate, the guards laughed, but a monk listening nearby paled and asked one question: "Did she smile at you?" The merchant never answered. That evening, the monk was gone. His cell held only an open prayer book, and across the margin, drawn in what looked like ink, was the outline of a mouth, sewn shut. The last recorded sighting came on the feast of St. Cuthbert. Just before the thaw, a lone guard on the east wall reported a figure walking across the frozen lake. The woman wore no cloak, no shoes, and her burial gown, still adorned with pearl trim, trailed behind her like mist. When he called out, she turned slightly, and in the light of the moon, he swore he saw her lips move. But no sound came, not until he blinked, and she was gone. The next day, they found her serpent circlet resting on the frozen edge. But the lake had not thawed. No ice was broken. No body beneath. Just one footprint, facing the castle. Some say she was never buried at all, that she merely stepped outside and was forgotten by the living. Others believe the Black Chapel was built not to honor her, but to bind her. And still, there are those who say she walks when the snow falls without end, singing softly just beyond the garden wall.
She never stopped.
Sleep well, traveler. Dream deep. And remember, some melodies cannot be silenced. The archive never closes, traveler. It waits. And next time, We set the table for a feast that did not end with dessert, but with death. You came for one story, but the archive remembers thousands. This is only the beginning.